Calgary Flames regular season hockey later this week, and as a result, the Flames do need to submit their final roster later today. And while the Flames haven't officially submitted their final roster yet, we do have a very clear idea of who will be selected based off of some injuries and the players who cleared waivers. And let's just say that some of the players that made the team will have Flames fans stoked. We're going to get into the final roster, but first I want to welcome you to Flames Digest. I am Mark Griffith. If you're new around here and you love the Flames, make sure you subscribe so you can stay up to date on all the latest news, updates, reports, and rumors revolving around your Calgary Flames. We would love to welcome you to the Flames Digest family, and this is an exciting one, so let's hop into some injuries and waivers. And while injuries aren't necessarily the exciting part, it does give us a very clear idea of who will be on our final roster. So the first thing we kind of need to take a look at is who is injured, and it is Yegor Sharangovich. So he has been placed on the IR week to week with a lower body injury. As we saw in that preseason game against Winnipeg, kind of just a fluke. You know, one of the Jets sort of fell on the back of his legs and it just didn't look great. And it was so unnecessary. It's part of the reason why a lot of people don't want to play their true NHL players in the preseason because of injuries. I mean, we saw what happened to Drew Doughty, of course, and now Sharangovich out with an injury. But the only silver lining, and of course, well, there's a couple. The first is that it's just week to week. It's not month to month. So it should just be, you know, he should be back in October kind of thing, but we'll play it by ear, of course. And the other silver lining is that it does open up a roster spot for some of the players. And as we know, the Flames did have a few guys on waivers. So to get the news on that, well, Pat Steinberg says that Jacob Pelche and Devin Cooley have both cleared waivers. Huge news. And then Vegas has claimed Cole Schwindt. As you can see, it's a reply to Elliot Friedman's tweet saying that everyone else clears. There were a handful of players that were plucked off of waivers, and the only one that matters for the Flames was Cole Schwindt. Now, this is interesting because he's a really good player, seems like a great guy, but just wasn't going to be a fit for, let alone this season, let alone the rest of the plan, I suppose, for the future. Don't think he was in the plans for the future. So I really don't think this is as big of a loss as maybe the other two could have been or would have been. Schwindt, we obviously wish him the best of luck over in Vegas. But the big thing here is that Jacob Pelche and Devin Cooley both clear waivers. So that doesn't necessarily mean they'll be starting on the Flames. In fact, I think it means the opposite. It just means we're able to put them down in the AHL officially now, and it's totally fine. Pelche, I think, will begin there. But he did have something interesting to say about waivers. This is from a couple days ago, but I like this quote here from Peltz himself. He said, "Of course, you don't want to go on waivers. I want to stay here. I love the team. I love the players. I love the staff." A lot of love going around. Jacob, that's one word in his vocabulary, that's for sure. I want to be part of it. I want to be part of what's coming here. I want to play in the new arena. So it's on me to force their hand and play me each night and stay here. That was Jacob Pelche, whose future in Calgary is up in the air. That's obviously from a couple days ago. I guess the future isn't as up in the air, but who knows? He could still be a potential trade candidate. Who knows if he'll really play with the Flames at all this season? I know the Wranglers play in Calgary as well, so he'll have a chance to play in the arena and play in Calgary, but it is obviously a different team. So interesting, but it's great to hear all of this from him. That makes it sound like he's going to work harder. And of course, we know he can dominate in the AHL, and I have no reason to believe that he won't do that again this year and get another shot at the NHL level. But at least what this means for the final roster, of course, is that we're totally fine to put Pelche down in the AHL. He will remain with the organization. And Devin Cooley as well. I was kind of worried. I thought a good team could go pick him up. I know he's only played 6 games in the NHL, but he could be a valuable player. But thank goodness he cleared waivers as well. He can go down to the AHL. We can rock Vladar and Wolf as the goalie tandem going into the season. And Cooley is fine to start in the AHL, which will be great. But this is kind of how we know that it will be the final roster. So per the NHL's media portal, the Flames have placed forward Yegor Sharangovich on the injury reserve list. Here's the big thing, and this of course comes from Ryan Pike on Twitter. He said, presuming that the 3 players they placed on waivers on Sunday won't be part of their season opening roster, the Flames can get down to 23 players for the time being without any further moves or demotions. So This is assuming that Pelche and Cooley go down to the AHL, which is fine. And this was even assuming that Schwint would have cleared waivers, and he didn't, and it doesn't really matter. But either way, the Flames now don't need to do anything else because of Sharangovich's injury. So due to these injuries, due to the waivers, the Flames kind of have their final roster selected. It will be, I'm recording this a couple hours before the actual deadline, and the Flames need to submit the final roster, but we already have a pretty clear idea of what it is. So without further ado, let's get into that aforementioned final roster, and it's honestly exciting. It's very, very exciting. The first thing I want to start with here is that this was from earlier on the 32 Thoughts podcast. Elliot Friedman said, it appears that Sam Honzek has made the Calgary Flames. And already that will just fire up Flames fans. So exciting. Congratulations to him. You know, he's put himself in a great position. He's deserved it, and it seems great. And we can kind of confirm that now that the waiver wire is over and the waivers have been cleared. And we know for sure, not that he was on waivers, he's actually waiver exempt, but we just know that he can be in that 23-man roster, and it is true. It certainly looks as though he has made the Flames. Hopefully he does get playing time and isn't kind of that 13th forward. But if we take a look at some of the lines here, Eric Francis said that with Sharangovich out week to week with the lower body injury, these were the lines this morning. So Huberdeau, Pospisil, and Mantha pretty much going to be our line one going into the number one game of the regular season. Honzek being a direct replacement for Sharangovich on the second line with Kadri and Kuzmenko. That should be such an exciting line. I hope they just light it up in that first game against Vancouver. Then we got Zary with Backlund and Coleman. Again, they played quite a bit in the preseason together. Zary kind of being that replacement for Mangiapane. Super exciting. Then you get Lomberg, Rooney, and Klapka on the fourth line. That'll also fire up so many people having Klapka on that fourth line. Even the extra forward as well, Matt Coronado. So Coronado, Klapka, Honzek, all kind of the younger guys that have made it, that a lot of people did want to make it. I know a lot of people still wanted Pelche as well, but at least he's still in the organization. But super exciting to see Hanzo, Klapka, and of course, Matty Coronado all up there. We got Ball and Andersson on defense, Weegar with Miramanov, Bean and Pahal, and Hanley and Barry as the 8 D-men. That's fine. We can afford that on the roster. And then Hanley and Net. You heard it here first. He's a goalie now. But Wolf and Vladar, of course, as the goalie tandem. That, I think, adds up to 23. There you go. How exciting is that? That should be the opening night roster, and it is exciting. Of course, here, at any time, you can throw Hanley or Barry in to that top 6. I wouldn't be surprised if Barry does manage to get up there sooner rather than later. And then Coronado, if you're going for more of a scoring offensive lineup one night, he can easily slot in over Klapka. Maybe Lomberg gets a night off kind of thing. We'll have to see. Of course, once Sharangovich is back and things get a little bit more complicated and you see who you send down, I would assume it would, of course, be one of Honzek, Klapka, or Coronado, as they are waiver exempt and they can develop in the A. But either way, so exciting to see that is the roster. Another thing we can take a look at here is the power play unit. So the first power play unit without Sharangovich, of course, again, looks like Kadri, Zary, Huberdeau, Kuzmenko, and Weegar. So Zary gets the plum assignment in Sharangovich's absence. So Zary moves up to that top unit, which will be great for him. We know how good he can be offensively. That should be great. With the second unit having Andersson, Backlund, a couple Swedes, Mantha, Coleman, and Honzek getting that power play time. Fantastic. That is so exciting. That seems like great power play units. Do they compare as some of the best in the league? No, of course not. But honestly, that second unit isn't bad at all. So super, super exciting once again. Let me know your thoughts on the final roster. I'm so pleased with this. Of course, we hope Sharangovich is healthy sooner than later, but essentially everything has gone to plan here, and I'm just so excited to watch the Flames this week. Let's wrap up this video with the comment of the day, as we love to do, and this one came from the last video about kind of just another roster update, really, but this one comes here from R. Dunkley. He said, I think Coronado and Klapka both deserve to make the team, but sending the two of them down to the AHL allows you to keep two of the others off waivers, so you never know what they'll do. We have a much better idea now, of course, that Coronado and Klapka really will be on the opening night roster. Well, we'll see if they're actually playing, but they have made the 23-man roster, which is fantastic, and of course they can go down to the AHL at any time being waiver exempt, so it makes things easy on Craig Conroy and company. Again, just so excited. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe like you saw here today, and have a wonderful rest of your day.